Welcome back to the Peril Palette. I'm your host Rudy, and let's get into this. I really like working on bases as I start getting to the details because one, it's relatively easy to generate a lot of creative energy to work on bases, and it's also pretty easy to work on some of the details as well. I'm using Wildwood here. It's a dark brown color, so it's a good base dark color. It's very quick covering, this contrast paint, and it's nice to get those details like right around the Tiamat feet, just in case, or Tiamat paws, just in case I make any of those mistakes. I also took the time just to do a little quick base of Rhinox eye, just to get everything started. Now, most of this video is going to show off dry brushing the base because it's really one of my favorite techniques. It's a relatively high intuitive and a really quick way for you to gain confidence in your model building. It also allows me to use different types of paints. I don't have to stick to one specific paint style. Like here, I'm actually using Bale Cavalry paints. I'm using a little bit of the De La Roni ochre, which is actually a little bit thicker than your typical acrylic paints, as well as a Citadel layer paint. For this case here, I'm just using the foam from an old figure case, and I'm adding some drops of water to help reactivate the paint or help moisten the brush, so when I'm dry brushing, it doesn't look as chalky. Now, if you're watching this video, it probably looks more like an overbrush rather than a dry brush since there's a little bit more paint on here, and that's totally fine. I still like the technique. It allows me to do some variants of color. As you can see, I'm kind of combining a couple of the colors and using this dry brush palette, which is kind of like a mixture of old bits and textures that I use to help, wipe off some of the excess paint. It's really a quick technique. I get a lot of really good color variations as I add color. I can pick and choose what I want. It makes it pretty random. I really do like that part of dry brushing on bases or terrain because you just get a lot of variance in colors, and it's difficult to really do it incorrectly. Now, you're going to observe here that I lay on this ochre relatively thick. It's a little bit brighter than I'd like it to, but again, I like dry brushing because I can just go back to a dark color, mix that one in, and try to blend everything together. It's a really, really awesome technique. It's highly intuitive. It's very, very easy to get proficient at it, and you can go as proficient or as detailed or as loose as you want it to here. Now up next, what I'm going to try to do is, I like the color variation, but I want a little bit lighter, so I'm just using a little bit of dry brush Tyrant Skull, which is like a light beige color, to get down some of the highlights. I'm using a little bit lighter pressure. I'm trying to be more careful when I put down this color because I just want to bring out some of the more higher end highlights. But with the yellow ochre, it's just really picking up a lot more and picking up a lot of that other colors. Now here I'm trying to start the more detailed parts of the model. I'm trying to start off with claws and talons because I just have to use black, so it's a relatively easy color to get on. I'm trying to be really, really careful as I do these claws and talons because this is when I have to start careful. I have to be careful about starting the basing correctly. What I do like about that Wildwood contrast paint is, let's suppose I make a mistake on the black or any claws or talons, especially on the base, all I have to do is go over with some Wildwood and I can get a lot greater blending. And then speaking of which, I'm using wet blending here to mix the red and the black talon together. I got a little bit more contrast paint to try to do some of the blending here. And the first pass, it doesn't look great, but it's just my starting off point to try to start merging those two colors together. Now, as you can see here, I actually took the time to actually take a few videos and photos because when I finished the base, it really generated a lot of creative energy because even though not one individual piece looks perfect, the model as a whole is really starting to come together and just generating a lot of positive energy. And I really do like this part about the painting process is because once you start getting past the initial blocking, start working on some details, the model really starts coming together and looking pretty cool here. Now I am pretty excited to do the next step, which is recess shading, but first I really got to prep the model first. And in this case here, I'm using some Winsor & Newton Gloss Varnish. Now, the reason why I wanted to document this part of the video is because it's important to note that when you gloss varnish a model before you start recess shading, it's ideal to let that model dry for a full 24 hours to make sure that that gloss varnish cures. The recess shading is going to make it look awesome, but I want to kind of be sure that everything is prepped before I do it. And now you can see here some of the final photos of the final model. It doesn't look it looks kind of weird at first because I'm usually used to like matte varnish or satin varnish on models, but I'm hoping to trust the process here and just kind of take a look at the model as is and then prepare for the recess shading the next day or the next session. And that's about all I have for now. I appreciate you guys taking the time to take a look at the video, and we'll see you next time.